Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for connecting with us. Today we're going to have a very special session. Uh, we have a very special guest with us. His name is Jorge Garcia from Abilene Christian University. But first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about Education USA. So just a very brief introduction. We are a network of more than 400 advising centers, and we are affiliated with the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs from the U.S. State Department. What we do is that we guide everyone who is interested in studying in the United States. We have 26 centers in Mexico, but as I told you before, we have over 400 in the whole world. And what we provide is personalized advising as well as information about the standardized exams, informative sessions, and also we have printed and online resources. And all of our services are free of charge. So right now, this informative session is going to be focused on Christian universities and well, all of the myths and all of the information out there that we tend to believe. Well, we're going to have someone who is in a Christian university tell us everything we need to know about these really, really important institutions. So I'm going to give it to you, Jorge. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Do I need to do something to change the screen?
Yes, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I already did. Now you can share your screen.
Okay. So this screen. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
But
well, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you and everybody that is connected and everybody that is gonna watch this later on the Education USA YouTube channel. I will say something about Education USA. No matter where you're watching this, it's a great institution. If you're planning to go to United States, is to find your closest Education USA office and see how they can help you, see how they can guide you. Wherever we travel, recruiting around the world, I always try to connect with the Education USA offices because they have a lot of great resources, even for us, for universities, but especially for students. And they are an institution that their role is to help you. It's not to sell you on a specific university or course of action. It's finding who you are and finding the best fit for you. So again, if you have the dream of going to study in the United States, visiting an Education USA office, it's a great resource for you to have. And actually, that's how we came up upon this presentation. A few years ago, an office in Education USA in China and one in Canada, about the same time, they asked us to do a presentation about what does it mean to be a Christian university. A religious affiliated university is common in United States, but it's not the case in many places in the world. And yeah, there are many myths and realities of what it means to be a Christian university. So these two institutions ask us to make this presentation. And that's why you're gonna see when I open the PowerPoint that the slides come from Education USA. But since then, since those two presentations, we made the one in China in person, we made the one in Canada in online, like the one we're doing right now. And since then, we've done these presentations in Education USA offices around the world, in Costa Rica, in Korea, in Nepal, in many times in person, many times online. So I'm glad they're recording it. Maybe we can send it to more places and more people will know. So I'm gonna change my screen. So instead of looking at me, you can look at the PowerPoint, and I believe I know what to do here. So I do that. Okay. Share. And so are you able to see the PowerPoint? I'm gonna send you do.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, the presentation is a look into Christian schools. Now you can change schools to mean, at least today, colleges and universities, in that there are Christian elementary schools and high schools and pre-Ks and daycares. So today we're specifically talking about universities. My name is Jorge Daniel Garcia. I'm actually from Mexico, and I'm from Cancun, Mexico. And after high school, I had the opportunity to study in Abilene Christian University. I worked in Abilene Christian University in international recruiting for 14 years. That's how I had the opportunity to visit all these different Education USA offices around the world. But now, this last year, I moved from admissions to teaching. So I teach international business and marketing at ACU. So we're going to talk about what does it mean to be a Christian school, a Christian university, and so we can start thinking about why do they exist, right? So what do that mean? What is going to be the difference between a religiously affiliated university and a secular university? Usually, being a Christian university means one or two things. One of them is often they're affiliated with a specific branch of the Christian religion. Now, for today's purposes, we are not talking about what does it mean to be Christian, or who is a Christian and who is not a Christian, or it's not a religious conversation. We're just trying to say, okay, if somebody considers themselves Christian and the university is affiliated to that specific branch of the Christian religion, that's what we're talking about when we say it's a Christian university. Often they also just have a historical founding or tradition of being Christian. And I'm going to give you a lot of examples of both reasons or both ways that a Christian university is a Christian university. Starting with why do they exist? At one point, somebody had to say, hey, I'm going to open a university and it's going to be a Christian university. So what motivated that founder of that institution to make that institution of learning a Christian institution? Often is the belief that wisdom is more than knowledge and experience, meaning the true development of a human being is not just academic knowledge, but it has also to do with spiritual knowledge, with morals, with integrity. And so you want to do more than just the academic part of the university. You want a whole experience. Another reason that founders started a Christian university can be that often religions motivate us to learn more, meaning you want to be a better person representing that religion, and often that happens when you learn more about your religion. And so sometimes you have universities to teach you about that university, about that religion. Also, we're motivated by religion to change the world. Christian religion wants us to go out and help the poor and fight injustice and make a difference. So having a Christian university, college will help you get there. Often you want to have an institution that has a different type of learning environment, right? I mean, you're very familiar with the stereotypical campus life on a college in the United States if you watch movies. So often Christians want an environment that it is fun, but it's different than the stereotypical campus environment. All this together means that often Christian universities exist because we want to have a greater purpose, more than educate students that graduate and get a good job and get paid well. And our students do all of those things, but our purpose is beyond that, is to change the world, to equip students to really, really make a difference. So all of these reasons, again, are motivations that somebody that started these institutions might have had to take into this challenge. a little bit of history. You know, the first US universities that were designed as liberal arts. Remember, liberal arts is you take a lot of different classes, not just the specific thing that you're learning. So the first university in the United States, they were Christian institutions, right? And they have a heavy focus on religion study. So you might have studied history and English, but the core of the institution was to teach religion. Often these institutions were the face of that denomination, kind of the building, to the place where you can spread the religion, the place where you can argue and discuss principles of that religion. Often the institutions were built with that purpose. Now, many of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the United States started as religious institutions. Harvard, Yale, they all started as a Christian university, or at least with a strong Christian character. So it's not like this is something new. The Christian universities have been around for a very, very, very long time. Now, years have passed through, decades later, a lot of these universities have transitioned to be secular institutions. So when we talk about Christian institutions today, again, it's not like every institution is the same. Some are very religious and some not at all now. And there are universities in between those 2 points with different characteristics and different rules and different opportunities and different strengths and weaknesses. So we're not talking about all institutions being the same. We're talking about a spectrum of characteristics that might identify one Christian university. And so again, many institutions have transitioned to secular institutions. Now, as population has changed, as needs have changed, especially in the marketplace, many of those universities that used to be mainly about religion, now most Christian universities are liberal arts universities with a diversity of many different majors. You have Christian universities with excellent engineering programs and business programs and interior design programs and pre-medicine programs. And so it's not just about religion. Most Christian universities will offer accredited degrees. Also, because Christian universities often want to challenge the students to consider different ideas, they have moved to have faculty and students that are not necessarily from that specific denomination. That way, the students and the faculty have the opportunity to listen from people with different ideas. Now, many universities started as Christian universities, and today they are Christian universities. For instance, the university that I represent, our Abilene Christian University, and Christian is even in the name, was founded in 1906. So we're at 2019 today. So we have more than 110 years of tradition of academic excellence, but being committed to a Christian environment. And to illustrate that different Christian universities will be different, here are some examples. For instance, there are many universities that started as Christian universities, and they still may have a Christian presence, but it's not a requirement, meaning you have to take Bible classes, you don't have to be, you don't have to do anything different, but their tradition, their historical roots are Christian. So two good examples are SMU and TCU. So SMU stands for Southern Methodist University. Methodist is a Christian denomination. TCU stands for Texas Christian University. Both universities right now, they're secular universities, and they actually don't go by their full names anymore. They go by SMU and TCU. And you can go, and they have their religious department, but it's not something that is in the whole universities. William and Mary is another example. One of my favorite examples for this presentation is Utah State University. And if you're thinking, okay, it's a state university, what do you mean it's a Christian university? That's what I thought too. One time I was in Tokyo in a college fair, and this specific college fair, they bring all the international schools in the area. So it's a very big fair. And after the fair, they have a reception for the high school counselors and the college reps like us. So I was in this reception talking to the representative for Utah State University, and we were talking about different ways to recruit, doing community service with students, and so on. And then he said, yeah, because we Christian universities. And I asked, wait, you're a state university. What do you mean we Christian university? And then he said, well, in Utah, everybody's Mormon. So in the university, everybody's Mormon. So we consider ourselves to be a Christian university. So that's a great example. Even a state university, some people, I'm sure not everybody, but some people in the university, they feel, okay, yeah, we are a Christian university. We represent different set of values. So this is a great example of a Christian university can mean many different things. Now, there are Christian universities that Christianity is actually integrated into the education. Like you come to ACU, you have to take some Bible classes, attend chapel, different dorms for males and females. So some examples again were Abilene Christian University. Baylor is probably one of the biggest private Christian universities in United States. They're a Baptist university. You may know Notre Dame, they're a Catholic university. And many of the Christian universities still, the Christian part, still a foundation of our mission and dictates how we offer an education. So what is different, right? So what is different when it comes to a Christian university? Often is the academic focus. If you remember, we talk about the history and why some of these universities started. That means that most Christian universities focus on teaching. We do conduct research and do other things, but the main job of the professor in most Christian universities is to teach the student, instead of their main job being doing research and having some of their assistants teach the classes. So it's not just about teaching students, it's building relationship with students. Some Christian universities do that better than others, but that's one difference, is that the faculty, those people that spent many, many years of their lives getting fancy degrees and having experience in their field, their number one job is to teach you and have a relationship with you, instead of their number one job being doing research and then having sometimes teaching, sometimes having their assistants teach. Again, there are benefits and disadvantages from both systems. And my purpose today is not to say this is good and that's bad or vice versa. It's just to explain some of the differences. Other difference is that often Christian universities have a greater emphasis on ideas like morality and social responsibility and integrity built into the classes, because we have a lot more freedom of what we can do and say about these areas. For instance, I mentioned after 14 years in admissions, now I work teaching business. One of the concepts that we cover a lot in our class is the idea of business and profit as the means of something greater instead of as the end goal, right? So if you have a company, a big company, their legal responsibility, their main goal is to create value for their shareholders, to do a profit. And that's okay, right? That's a business. But what we teach our students is, yes, you have to learn, you have to be a great business person so you can teach, you can be successful in a business, whether you start your own business or you're making the company you're working for successful and profitable. But as a Christian, we can see that profit, value as the means of something greater instead of at the end goal. This is not the same as social responsibility. Every big company will have initiatives that sometimes they're genuine, sometimes they're not, to make the world a better place. But one of the things which I try to teach the students in my class is, yes, you can make profit, but that profit is going to enable you to do something greater. The profit is the means for you to end poverty. The profit is the means for you to change the environment and help the environment. The profit is the means for you to fight injustice. You have to have that profit because you are a business, but that's not the end goal with some social responsibility on the side. that's the means, and then you can make a better world. So that's one thing that I can do in my class, and probably it may not be as well received in a different institution. Again, we at ACU, we have an excellent business school, and our students go out and they are very successful business people around the world, but we are able to teach that and give them those skills that are the same skills they're going to get at a university from a different perspective. Another difference is that many Christian universities may require for you to take some theology or religion classes. At ACU, students have to take 4 Bible classes. They take 1 Bible class of the Old Testament, 1 of the Gospels, 1 Acts to Revelation, and then they take a different kind of more of an elective class that they can choose from other classes, and they have to take the classes. Now, they are not Sunday school classes in that we are not trying to convert students. There are university classes. The students have to study hard, and when they are learning about the Old Testament, they learn who wrote the book and what was the cultural context, and for whom did they write that book, and what are the historical records of that book and the main themes of that book. So it's a university class that welcomes different opinions and welcomes different people from different backgrounds. Again, we're a university, we're challenging the mind of our students, and the diversity of ideas help us with that. Like I mentioned, besides classes, some universities have chapel requirements. Chapel is usually a devotional, and at ACU, we have chapel every day. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the whole university gets together. Tuesdays is usually departments have their own chapels, and then Thursdays, students organize their own chapels, like the outdoor club is going to have their own chapel. The International Student Association is going to have their own chapel. And they really function as a community time where everybody comes together. Students often complain, but that's usually the one thing alumni say they miss is chapel, because it's, the whole university stops. You get to see your friends, you get to see your professors, and recharge for the rest of the day. Some universities have optional chapels, Christian universities, and that's great too. Those who want to go. Some universities will have required chapels, but maybe not every day, maybe once a week or a specific number per week. So that's one thing that you might see in a Christian university. Often Christian universities will have a different code of conduct. I mentioned at ACU, we have different dorms for males and for females. They have maybe different dress codes or drinking codes. So if you remember about the motivations we talked before, many Christian universities will have different ways of ensuring that campus life in their campus. Often Christian universities will have local sororities or fraternities. I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of fraternities, what you see on TV and the movies, they're national corporations, meaning you can have the same fraternity in different universities. Again, in the effort of having a different campus life, a lot of Christian universities will have their own sororities and fraternities. And often they're going to give you a lot more opportunities to do community service or religious activities. For instance, at ACU, we have an office that all they do is to help students with community service. And you can get papers signed and you bring them to them. And when you graduate, you have, just like you have a transcript from your classes, you have a transcript of the community service that you've done. Now, when we do community service, we do it because we want to help. It's not because we want to brag about it. But when you're looking for a job, that's not the time to be modest, and having this document is helpful. And it's not just about the document, it's the culture of ACU is pushing you for things like that. And other religious activities, for instance, I mentioned I'm from Cancun. One spring break when I was a student at ACU, instead of coming to Cancun, I went with some friends. We went to Honduras, and we had this little place, skits that we did in the school for the blind and different nursing homes and different schools. And so you have activities like that. Okay, now I've been talking about Christian universities, and you might have an image of a Christian university that may be accurate or not, starting with some myths, right? Things that people think, oh, well, this is what all Christian universities will be. Again, and I'm going to say this again, and I'll say it now, Every Christian university is different. I'm talking in general. But some of the myths about Christian universities is that you have to be a Christian to, to come to this university. And the reality is that in most Christian universities, we value diversity. I mentioned that diversity in the classroom makes the class better. We want students from all around the world. At ACU, we have students from more than 40 different countries, and we have Japanese students that are mostly secular, and we have Nepali students that are Buddhist, and we have Saudi students that are Muslim, and we have, we're a Christian university affiliated with the Churches of Christ. It's an evangelical uh, evangelical persuasion, and we have a lot of Catholic students from Latin America and Texas. We have a lot of Hispanic students. We have a lot of Catholic students come to ACU. So you don't have to be from a specific religion or denomination to come to a university. We welcome that diversity, and that's why we travel all around the world looking for international students. Another myth is that you can have fun in a Christian college or university. And I did tell you that we will have a different code of conduct because we have a different environment, but that doesn't mean that it's a boring university. At ACU, we have more than 100 student organizations that, that whatever you want to do, most likely we have a club that you can do for fun. If not, you can create it. Rugby and concerts and the International Student Association and Hispanos Unidos Association and the Outdoor Club and all different things, concerts, activities. There is always something to do. I remember when I was a student, one time I realized I didn't have any free time, because if I wasn't studying, that's why you go to university. You know, I was with my friends in the cafeteria, in the dorm, in the library, very active with intramural sports. Our goal was to have a team of international students for every sport. We did it except baseball, that we didn't have gloves, but we even did rodeo, right? If you can imagine Japanese girls chasing goats to dress them, and we fighting with steers and bulls, and we knew nothing about it, but we wanted to do it because it was fun, and we were in the United States and wanted to experience, and we do all of those things. Another myth is that Christian colleges are their own bubble. So when you talk about a bubble, means is you're in a protected environment and you don't get to see the real world. So that's a myth about Christian universities. But if you remember about the motivations about studying a Christian university, one of them is to make a difference in the world. That means that Christian universities often, their classes, their students, their professors, the institution is actively looking for a way to be engaged with the community and the world, because that's how you make a difference, right? So our pre-med students, every other year, they take a group to the mountains in Guatemala to help in eye clinics. I mentioned the opportunity I have to do in Honduras. We have students go and work with Habitat for Humanity and Meals on Wheels and all these nonprofit organizations that are helping the poor, that are fighting injustice, that are making a difference for those that need it most. And so that motivation pushes you to take the gifts that we have and the blessings that we have to make a difference in the world. So those were some of the myths, some of the reasons to consider a Christian university. One is that sense of community, meaning a lot of times there are smaller universities, or because of the Christian environment, they focus more on community. So you get to know your professors, you have a relationship with them, with staff, with other students. Now, we are a Christian university, and if you are a Christian and want to grow spiritually, it's a great place to be. Again, you don't have to be a Christian, but if you are and you're looking for something, that's a place where you can grow spiritually with other Christians, with Christian professors. Now, one of the things about Christian universities is that, you know, we will live in our missions. All of us that work at ACU, we don't see it just like another job, right? This, I could work in this university, I could work in that university. We see it as a part of a bigger mission of making a difference in the world. Now, Christian universities, again, there are many different universities. It doesn't mean that if you are a Christian, that you are a university of less quality or more quality. right? And so it's not the label of being a Christian university doesn't automatically means you're a better or worse university. That means is you have a specific mission, and every mission will be different. Christian universities have exactly the same accreditations that secular universities, right? And again, we work to have, we believe that to change the world, we need to prepare you to change the world. And that's why academics are very important. Again, some universities are going to be better than others. Some Christian universities will have better academic quality than others. Some secular universities will have better academic quality than others. So again, it's not necessarily you're Christian, you're good, or you're Christian, you're bad. It means you're Christian, you're different. So you should look to see, okay, is this a good fit for me? Depending on the majors that I have, some Christian university may have a better major than another secular university, or vice versa, right? Or a different environment that is better for you. So you should look at the different options and then make a decision from there. Now, we have this quote from our Dean of Admissions at ACU. Her name is Tamara Long. And, you know, we asked her, hey, we're going to show you around the world. Tell us something. And this is what she told us. Faith-based colleges and universities provide students with a safe and challenging learning environment when they are intellectually transformed and equipped to live out their calling. Again, me and Christian is that calling, right? And so just a little note about our university, Abilene Christian University. Again, for us, it's in the core of what we do. And our mission is to prepare students for Christian service and leadership throughout the world, right? That's our mission. Again, it's not just, our mission is not just being Christian, it's to prepare Christian students and students to go out and lead the world and serve the world and make the difference. We were talking about academic quality, and some ways you can see the academic qualities to see what happens after the university, right? Because if you go to United States, most likely that means that your family, your parents, whoever is helping you is making an investment in your future, right? You're leaving your country, so you go to a different country, often to an expensive education, because they want you to have better opportunities once you leave the university. So that return on investment is very important for you to compare in quality. For instance, at ACU, 95% of our graduates have a job or are doing a master's degree within 6 months of graduation. And again, you should compare, you should ask the universities you are considering, what's your employment rate? You don't want to waste 4 years of your life, of your effort and your resources in a place that is not going to give you the opportunities to be successful. I mentioned before, Christian university usually tend to be smaller. At ACU, our average class size is 26 students, and the faculty, the student to faculty ratio is 14 to 1. Again, one example of being a smaller university, but also an example of the quality that we do. There is the website for our university if you want to learn a little bit more about ACU. One thing that you should know is that at ACU, we give exceptional scholarships to international students. So you can go to our website and see what they are. And again, we want you as an international student to come and make our classrooms better. So that's what I have for the presentation. And so I believe we have, if I do, I believe we have time for questions. And so I'm trying to see, how do I exit this?
Let me check. Ready.
Am I still here?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
we cannot see you.
Okay.
Let me just.
Let me click. It says, you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. Okay, start my video.
Yeah.
Thank you, host.
You're welcome.
Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, can they see me now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, what questions you have? Questions, suggestions, complaints, comments, good ideas?
Okay. Um, so do you have any questions, the participants? You can type them on a chat, please.
Where do I see the chat?
On the bottom, there's a bottom that it's the chat.
Okay.
Can you see it?
It says invite participants, share chat. I see. Okay. Receive with thanks. Well, Jan, I'm glad you're here. Any other questions? From Education USA, anything that I didn't say that I should have mentioned that I forgot? Any clarification?
Everything was pretty clear, but I think maybe what are the areas of special focus, or maybe the main areas in Abilene Christian University? Because,
okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tried to mention ACU, but not too much. But
no, but you have time now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, yeah, so Abilene Christian University, some of our strongest programs, for instance, I mentioned business, and I mentioned the accreditation. So at ACU, we have the double ACSB accreditation for our business department. That's the highest accreditation a business school can have. Only the top 5% of business schools in the world have this accreditation. And so anything that has to do with marketing, management, human resources, information systems, accounting, finance, we have an exceptional business department. Also, because we focus in teaching, we have an exceptional undergraduate science program, meaning a lot of universities, they're known for their sciences, but the majority of the research happens at the master's level. And at ACU, we focus on the undergraduate level. So we have a nuclear energy lab at ACU. One of my student workers from El Salvador, he already graduated. When he was a student at ACU, he discovered 5 new compounds, and they sent him to conferences around the world. Physics, engineering, computer science, or STEM programs at the at the undergraduate level, they're great. Another of our strongest programs is psychology. And actually at ACU, you can do your undergraduate and your master's in only 5 years. And I mentioned we have students from around the world. We have Saudi students from Saudi Arabia that are in our master's in psychology because it's one of the best in the world. And the government gives them scholarships to go if they go to a university that is one of the best in the world. And that's why we have some Saudi students, some of them that are in the university. Education is another very strong program that we have at ACU. And in general, everything that has to do with innovation. Computer science, we have a very cool major called digital entertainment technology that students that want to do animations and video games and apps and all of those things. Like I mentioned, computer science, information systems, things like that. So those, and again, if you ask me something, I could tell you something about different majors, but those tend to be the most popular majors at ACU.
Okay, actually, John is asking about MBA programs.
Yes, so we do have an MBA, but it's online. And so if you go to the same website, you can see on top of online programs. And it's interesting because, you know, online is a new trend, especially in the United States, online education. And you get an MBA, and it's a same accreditation, it's double ACSD accredited, and then all those good things. But just like our undergraduate programs, they will have a Christian component to the MBA, even when it's online. And so you can do an MBA online, but again, that's us. Often, if you're an international student, you want a U.S. education, you want to come here and experience that. Many Christian universities, Baylor has very good MBAs, SMU, TCU, that you can do on campus. Usually, MBAs are 2 years, and I think that's about 36 credit hours that you have to do. I'm looking at your other question, the numbers of courses to cover in the program.
And the cost. It's asking about
Because
the cost.
for the online MBA, I'm not sure because every, I should know, right? I should be prepared. But it's a different system than the one that we follow, and each program is different. But again, if you go to our website, it's going to be there and clear. And so you can see if the website, again, well, Abilene Christian University, acu.edu, like education, / international, I mean, / international. So you can see there the cost for graduate programs on campus, online graduate programs, the cost of our programs on campus, and the scholarships. You can see all of there. They're asking me to put the link again, so I'll put it here. acu.edu/international. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so any other questions? Let's wait a little bit. Okay. Oh, Antonio has a question.
Antonio. Is he supposed to show there or?
Well, it says, I have a question. The program.
Because I don't see in the chat.
That's weird.
If you see it, I can. If you read it to me, I'll answer it.
Yeah, it says the program. The admission process is the same. ACT test.
So I'll answer first within the context of the presentation. It depends on the university. Some universities require the SAT or the ACT. Some universities don't. Some universities require both the TOEFL and the SAT and ACT. And some don't. And so that will depend on the university. Just like every secular university will have different admissions processes, every Christian university will have different admissions processes. Some of them, I mentioned, you don't have to be a Christian, so you don't have to write a statement of faith. Some of them, you do have to be, and you have to write a statement of faith. So make sure you look at where you're going. In case of us, you need one international assessment. The best one you can take is the SAT or the ACT because that tells, I mean, a better understanding of your academic progress. But you can apply with the TOEFL, with the IELTS, with the ICANN if you're in Japan. Now the one that is competing with all of this is Duolingo, that you can take it online, and so you have a lot of different options. So it's going to depend on the university. For us, you only need one international assessment, and then your other documents, application, and your your test, and your application fee, and different things. But you only need to send any international assessment, meaning we have a list online, and usually we have a lot of flexibility. A lot of the SAT and ACT right now, if you're planning to go to the United States for undergraduate, that's the best thing you can do because it's going to open more doors and have more opportunities. In reality, there's been a lot of talk and controversy about whether or not that's the best indication of a student's academic quality. And I think I saw in the news last week that there is a lawsuit in California, so universities don't use the SAT or ACT anymore. And maybe nothing will happen and they will continue to do. So your reality right now is that if you have an SAT or ACT and you do well, you're going to have more opportunities for more places. In case of us, if you have a TOEFL, we can look at your file from there. But again, if you're thinking United States, this advice is not what you need to do to come to ACU. Is if you have one of those two, you have a clearer view of what are your opportunities in United States. And if you're not sure where to take it or when to take it, go to Education USA. I mean, you can go to their websites and all that, but they have sessions about the SAT and they have sessions about the ACT and the application process, and they will have a lot more information about the application steps from a lot more universities, because we universities love them so much that when we go visit them, we go and tell them, hey, this is my university and this is my steps. And so they'll have a better understanding on, in general, what universities are expecting. And so again, it's a great resource. Go visit your Education USA office.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your answer. And we have a question from Uwayo. He says, do Christian universities offer full scholarships for Africans?
Some will do, and it depends. And some of them will depend on, some of them will give them to their denomination. Some of them will do for others. For us, our minimum scholarship for international, our minimum scholarship for international students is $25,000. And then from there, we start building. And there are some students that get up to full tuition. But again, some universities do, some will not. Some will have very specific requirements. Some will be more flexible. And so it can be. Now, just since I have this opportunity and this forum here, is the idea of that full scholarship that is going to cover everything. I'm not going to say it's a myth, but it's very rare. Right? I know Education USA advisors that have sent their kids to college in the United States, and they have told me, I know everything, right? I've talked to every university, and I mean, those full rides that will cover everything, they barely exist unless you are the best piano player in your country, or you are going to the Olympics, or I mean, there's exceptional programs that have their own funding. That's where usually happens. Other than that, the key is to find the pieces of the puzzle, right? What scholarships can I get from the university? How much can my family pay me? I mean, help me pay my education. Can I ask my aunt? Can I apply for outside scholarships? That's how we all international students made it, right? We found the pieces of the puzzle. So if your goal is, I'm gonna see where I get a full scholarship, you're gonna send many emails to many universities, and all of them are gonna tell them they don't have them, right? And so you have to go with the perspective is, how do I find the pieces of the puzzle to make this? And if God wants you to come, he's gonna open the doors and give you all the pieces. And if not, we are where we need to be with all the peace and faith in the world. And again, that's my perspective from a Christian university, but not in any way endorsed by the U.S. government or anything like that. Again, that's my opinion. But again, just because I see that a lot, is asking for full scholarships. That's usually an indication that the student hasn't done their homework. Okay, so this much my family can pay, this much is the scholarship giving me, where can I find the rest? And so just general advice, not for ACU, but if you want to study in the United States.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? Okay, I don't think there are any other questions.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Jorge. This was very insightful and very, very helpful. I particularly learned a lot, well, also from our last meeting, but
Yes.
really, yeah. So
now you saw the real presentation.
yeah. No, but really, thank you so much for your time, and
No,
thank you so much to the participants.
Uh-huh.
In case that they want to reach out to you, do you have your contact?
Yeah, I can give you my email. Again, my name is Daniel Garcia. So my email address is danielg@acu.edu. So Abilene Christian University.education. So danielg@acu.edu.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? The people live streaming right now, or the people later on YouTube, send me an email, and I'll be happy to answer questions about ACU, and I'll be happy to answer questions about Christian universities in general. or any question. Just if I can be of any help, please send me an email.
Okay, perfect. Then I wrote your email there on the chat box, just in case that anyone.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, so I will stop recording this.
Hello? Hello?
Oh no, wait.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, someone is speaking. Oh, wait.
Yes, I just wanted to ask. You said that there are some opportunities